Patricia Dale, makeup artist. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on how I do my eyebrows. I have so many people asking me questions about how I do my eyebrows. They are so thin and sparse, I really have to work with them. So stay tuned to see my technique for doing my eyebrows. Before you begin doing any makeup application, I always say this in every tutorial video that I've done, I stress the importance of making sure that your skin is thoroughly cleansed and moisturized. Once you've done that, you want to make sure that you use a good facial primer. And the primer that I love using is by Becca. It is the Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector Base. It is awesome, guys, for oily skin. So we're not going to talk too much about the face right now. We're going to do eyebrows. But I do use a primer before I do any makeup application, being eyebrows, whatever. So you want to make sure that you get the shine out, and you want to make sure that your canvas is totally matted or primed. For people with dry skin, they don't have to worry about oil. But the combination skin and oily skin, you have to worry about oil. So there are different primers you use for different skin types, but we're not going to get into that in this particular video. So what I do is I make sure that I take my spoolie. Let me talk about some items you need to have on hand before you even begin. I love using a spoolie. And my favorite spoolie is this Anastasia spoolie. I've been having it for years. Also, you need to make sure you have a good angled brush. And the angled brush I love using is by MAC. And it's a brush 266. I also love MAC's eyebrow pencil in Spiked. And I've used others. You don't have to use MAC, but that's the one I'm using in this video. And I also use the Smashbox, and this color is called Midnight Brown, and it's a cream liner by Smashbox. I also use a concealer, and I love using this concealer by MAC, and it's the Select Sheer Cover-Up Concealer in NW45. And I also use the Select Sheer Cover-Up Concealer in NC35. And you also want to make sure you have a good pencil sharpener on hand. And I got this one, well, at Sally's. So you can get them anywhere, but this one is pretty good. So these are all the items that I use before I begin doing my eyebrows. The first thing you want to do is to make sure that the hairs are drawn up. You want to do it in upward motion. And if this video is a little close, I kind of focused it in closer so everyone can see what I'm doing. Sometimes I even use a MAC clear eyebrow liner, like eyebrow gel. And we're going to do that today. I'm using a clear and MAC eyebrow set. You can use a colored one as well, but I'm using clear. And for most people, if I was doing their faces, I would use a clear. And if I was to go back in and kind of fill it in, I would use a colored one. And we're going to get into that in another video. But we're focusing on eyebrows in this video. And I've drawn it up, and I'm going to go back in and do the same thing. And with that eyebrow gel, it just helps the pencil adhere better. But you can also fill in eyebrows with eyebrow powders. You can use gels, but I like using a pencil. That's my method of doing it. So you want to make sure that you draw a line underneath the eyebrow, following the shape of the natural brow. And this is how I do my eyebrows. Okay, you're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to see thin, sparse eyebrow turn into something very fabulous looking. Sometimes I have to curve the ends out because I like them shaped. My natural shape usually goes in a downward motion, but I'm going to do a different shape for today. So you just kind of follow the line and you curve it out. And to see where to begin, you take a pencil or anything to measure it is going to be from here. This is the starting point, and take it and kind of form like an angular line, and this is the ending point. But I'm so used to doing that I don't have to do that. But if you don't know where to start and begin, that's a way to measure. So I know exactly where to start and to end. So you just kind of follow the shape, and you're going to do the same. You're going to draw the line above, and I did that on that brow. And you're going to fill it in with a light touch. You're going to use a light hand to fill it in. Makeup can do so much. Like you see a lot of those celebrities, you see makeup on magazines. Makeup is like, my God, you can do so many different things with makeup. You can create an illusion. Anything you want to create, you can do it with makeup. You can see I'm doing this right now with these brows. You just have to nail down the technique. And this is the technique that I use. But you have several videos out there with eyebrows, but this is just my basic technique, and it works for me. Okay, we've gotten the shape down just right. And I also like to go back in, and that's why I'm just finished with my MAC eyebrow pencil and spike. This is where I'm going to use my Smashbox pencil in Midnight Brown, and I kind of go in on the ends with that to kind of give it a little bit more depth and dimension. Okay, I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to use my spoolie. And I'm going to take some of the hairs that I've drawn thus far and brush it towards the center. Or take the front portion of the brow and kind of brush it towards the center. Going towards the nose, not away from it. And sometimes you have to go back in and fill in. Okay, so I'm doing that. Okay, you want to use a lighter hand when you're doing eyebrows on the front portion of the brows. When you're filling in, you want to use a light hand because you kind of want to fade the color out a bit. I'm going to go back in and fill in a little bit more. Not a lot, but just kind of do it lightly. I'm a perfectionist, by the way, so I like to make sure things are just right. Okay, and that's just right. Now, since I've got my shape down, I want to go in. The next thing I do is go in with the concealer. I'm going to use my NW45 Select Concealer, Select Cover-Up Concealer, because it's easier to blend. You can use a cream concealer as well, but I find this one is easier to blend. I've used creams before, but they're a little harder to blend out the lines. So you're going to take your angled brush or the end of your spoolie, and you're going to draw a line underneath, and you're going to place the concealer following the shape of the brow. And I do one eye at a time, and I'm going to also use my MAC 224 brush, and I'm going to blend that out. Want to make sure you don't have any lines. Actually, I'm going to take a little bit more concealer. And you're doing that underneath the eyebrow. And I'm using more just to show you guys. And you're going to take that MAC 224 brush and just use a back and forth motion. You're going to blend it out until you just don't see anything anymore. You don't want any lines showing. Back and forth. Going to do the same thing with the other eye. Or the other eyebrow. And you're going to blend the line. You're going to blend that out. And for all video intent purposes, we're going to do this here. I'm going to make sure everything is covered here. And sometimes I do that. And sometimes I just use the transition color to blend in. But you can do it either way. But for my video, because we're doing eyebrows, I'm just going to use a whole lot and blend it down. You want to make sure that everything is well blended. Always blend, blend, blend. And we're going to go back and do the same thing with this eye. You want to always do everything the same with each feature of your face. One side has one thing, you want to make sure that you do the same here. So everything is well blended. You're going to do the same thing with the top portion of the eyebrows. You're going to draw a line on top of the eyebrows just like this, following the shape of the brow. And then you want to go in with your MAC 224 brush and blend it. Blend it back and forth when you don't see anything, any lines. You don't want any lines showing. So you're going to blend that real well. Always blend. Blending is the key to any makeup application. Everything's well blended on this side. Now I'm going to proceed to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to blend, blend, blend. Blend, blend, blend. Alrighty. Now I need to go back and put a little bit more pencil color. I put a little bit too much concealer, and also make sure you don't put too much. To go back and correct that, if that happens, because it can happen, it probably will, you just go back lightly with your pencil and correct it. Just like this. Any mess ups in makeup, you can always fix it. Okay, I'm going to go back and make sure everything is well blended on this side. You're going to use a back and forth motion and make sure everything is very well blended. You don't want to see any lines anywhere. Okay, now I've done that. I want to go ahead and add my NW30, I'm sorry. I want to go ahead, and I said NC35, that's correction, NW30. So you're going to use the lighter color to kind of use as a highlighter. So you're going to take a dab of that and you're going to place it in the arch. And I use the end of my spoolie. I don't want to mix the colors. And you can mix the colors, so sometimes I do that as well. But I'm just using it by itself today. So you're going to blend that out. And that creates sort of like a highlight. And do the same thing for this eye. Blend it out. Make sure you blend everything. And don't go beyond the arches. You just want to kind of use this as a highlighter. So you're going to go back and forth. You're going to use back and forth motions just to make sure this is well blended. You can't ever blend too much. You always should blend makeup. You don't want any lines showing. Everything should come together as one. And now I am finished with my eyebrows. And this is the way Patrice Adele does her eyebrows.